Hi, this is Katrina Adams, and you're listening to Brothers on Tennis.
Yo, 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 everybody, what's up? This is your boy Isaac.
And this is your boy Bryce.
And we, of course, are Brothers on Tennis. And yo, we are coming at you with yet another episode. You know, there's some hot stuff going on in the world of tennis, man. So we are here to talk a little bit about it and, do what we do. Bryce, how you doing, my man?
I am home.
Uh-oh. Oh, uh-oh.
Boy, I tell you, I guess it's going to be one of those type of episodes where I am just knocking stuff over. For those people that are listening to this in podcast form, we are also recording this on Instagram Live, so I just knocked my whole setup over, but I think I kind of got myself back together. But anyway,
you got yourself good.
Yeah, to answer your question, man, I'm doing good. I'm just trying to stay safe, trying to stay healthy. Out there on the tennis courts yesterday, I don't know what happened to my net game. I can't volley a brick into a building.
That's not good, bro.
Yeah, I was missing a lot.
That game is tight, man. What's going on with that?
I don't know. It wasn't the greatest yesterday, but I served pretty good yesterday. So
okay.
I'll take it where I can get it. But anyway, on to professional tennis. I'm just getting excited that we are days away from the women's tour officially kicking back off. So don't get me wrong, I've loved all the exhibition stuff. But I'm kind of a little exhibitioned out now. I want to see people playing. I want to see points on the line. I want to see money on the line. I want to see people giving people side eye after certain shots. I'm looking for that type of engagement again, and we're literally days away from seeing that.
I am right there with you, my man. I mean, it is so exciting that we are about to get back to some live tennis. And I mean, you've got other sports that are getting ramped up. Of course, you got baseball that's trying to get itself going again. And just all, it's really a wonderful sign that sports is coming back to the table, because I think it will do the world a lot of good to have, some sport to focus in on. And like I said, tennis is absolutely no exception. Love it and cannot wait, bruh. But I tell you what, though, watching the World Team Tennis, bruh, I have to say it's been pretty darn competitive. I mean, because you got a couple folks been giving some side eye. They like, look, I do want to win. I ain't trying to let my team down. So I mean, World Team Tennis has really, really been good of late, bruh. I'm just very, very happy, about how folks have been competing and just how they're getting their form together and getting back on track,
Right, and I want to acknowledge, I see a message that just came through from Miss Katrina Adams, and if you guys don't remember, that is our previous CEO and president of the USTA. She wanted, and I think this is a good reminder, that the World Team Tennis competition is a real competition. They do give out prize money. There is a title at the end, and she will actually be calling the finals next weekend on the CBS Sports Network. So check that out if you get an opportunity to. I tell you what, look, the competition has been very good there, and for a while you've had the records of the teams be they've been very close, right? I think at one point you had a 1 and a 2, and then number 3 to number 8, they all had the same record. And now you're starting to see kind of some break away from the pack. And honestly, I predict the top 4 teams are going to be Philadelphia, Chicago, Orlando, and New York that will make the finals. And I don't think there's really any surprise as to why they would be in the finals, because if you look at the makeups of these teams have the people that either have the strongest teams or the players that have been playing the absolute best during this break. Because I'm telling you what, although Philadelphia is in first place right now, to me the Chicago team that's number 2 is a stacked team.
They are stacked.
You got Bouchard and Maddox Sands, who are really the top women's doubles team in there. That Brandon Nakashima, that dude they've been comparing his style a lot to Djokovic. And I know that's a lot to compare, but I mean, really, the guy doesn't have really any weaknesses. Sloane Stevens, I mean, we know that she can beat anybody on any given day, and we know that the converse is true as well.
Yes.
And I'm telling you what, that even that, what's his name, Rajiv Ram. Now,
See, you've been sleeping on Rajiv.
I have not
Rajiv
been.
a lot.
I have not been sleeping on him, and I don't dislike him. I just know that if there is an opportunity to choke, he will go out and grab that by the throat.
See,
I mean,
you still holding those Olympics against Rajiv because you wanted him and Venus to get that time, which I did as well. But you harbor a little bit about that for him because I remember you and I were talking about that. You were like, that damn Rajiv Ram costing Venus her gold Olympic.
Look, I know he's a good doubles player, and I know he has some great results. But even in World Team Tennis, I've seen where he didn't come through. In some of these matches where you would have thought that he, as one of the top doubles players in the world, would come through. It's one thing to be a great player. It's another thing to be able to come through in clutch situations. And I just feel like I've not seen Ram come through in some clutch situations. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure he gives a lot of charities and all the good stuff. But, I don't know. It's hard for me to get, behind him sometimes. And then Philadelphia. I mean, Philadelphia's been doing it. I mean, Sophia Kenin, she's kind of dropped off a little bit with some of her singles results as of late, but she's a great option there. Taylor Fritz has come through. I'm a big fan of Fabrice Martin. I take Fabrice Martin over Rajiv Ram any day. He's a great doubles player. And
I like Fabrice. I like Fabrice.
I like him a lot. I like him a whole lot. And really, Taylor Townsend has come through for them big in some of the doubles matches.
Big time. I mean, honestly, Bryce, at one point, I was actually thinking in my head, should Taylor potentially focus 100% on women's doubles and get to number one in the world? Because she's got the capability. She literally, her hands are so good. Her game is just so good. And it crossed my mind. I was like, I wonder if she's ever considered that, just actually focusing on doubles and getting to number one in the world. Because in truth, she can. She's that good.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, and that's very interesting that you make that comment. I think that's a possibility, but I also think that would be a cop-out because she has the talent and the ability to be a great singles player. I just question some other factors that she could probably control that is impacting that. Because what I'm tired of hearing is people talk about the match with Simona Halep. Because what frustrates me about that match is that Simona, that was one of the, and we were there for that match. That was an incredible win. And to me, that was an example of what we should be seeing from Taylor Townsend day in and day out. And the fact that commentators and people can only go back and talk about that one match. There was no follow-up of that result afterwards,
Well, yeah, and you and I saw, like I said, when we went to that one Challenger event out here in, what was it, Newport Beach?
Newport Beach.
Again, we saw her, and we were sitting out there like, why is she playing like she played at the U.S. Open? And it just seemed like she reverted right back to her old style of play, which it just didn't make much sense to me. And I've made my comments on the coaching front, which I'll reserve.
Right.
But I mean, really and truly, she needs somebody in her ear that's going to really keep her pushing in that direction. Because boy, oh boy, man, she looks so good at that U.S. Open, B. I mean, that to me was the highlight of. Well, we did have a lot of highlights in that 2019 U.S. Open.
We did.
But I tell you what, that was a great highlight to be in the stadium watching that match against her and Simona Halep. It was incredible. And I see that Katrina put a comment in there as well, saying that nope, she's got the talent. She needs to keep going with her singles. The singles will of course benefit the doubles. Agree with you 100%, Kat. I just want her to get the right messaging going on in her head because she's got so much talent, and I just feel I just feel like it's going untapped, and it's just in my eyes a shame because she should be much higher in the singles ranking than she is right now. Yeah.
And I know it's easy for us to say on the sidelines, right? You know, like you should be doing this, you should be better at this or whatever. But it's just disappointing a little bit when you get so excited about somebody that you see they have the natural ability. She has hands that nobody has on the tour, right? And you just would like to see her fulfill that potential just a little bit more. Now, granted, she's still young. I mean, it's not like she's 30 or anything, and not like time's running out. But it kind of is. You know, you're only young for so long, and this is really the time that you should, be making your grind. So we're going to get off of that because I don't want this to become like, we don't love Taylor Townsend or we don't, support her or whatever.
Exactly. Direct opposite. We love Taylor Townsend, in fact. I mean, it's just a matter of we just want her to be able to maximize her skill set.
Right. Exactly. And then I'm going to tell you what, we've talked about Philly and Chicago because they're at the top of the pack and they have these two really strong teams. But there are two other teams that you have to keep your eye out for. And one of them, of course, is the New York Empire because that 1-2 combination they have of Kim Clijsters, ain't nothing changed but my lip Clijsters, and you got Jack Sock, who is a threat every time he steps on the court in any event, singles, doubles, or mixed doubles. They have been producing some really nice results. What do you think?
I absolutely agree with you, Bryce. I mean, Kim, of course, is undefeated in singles play. Now, mind you, she's got a little bit of an injury that she's kind of working through. But I tell you what, kudos to Sabine Lisicki because remember, today it was supposed to be Clijsters against Venus. And unfortunately, Kim had to sit down. And then Lisicki came in, which, and I've talked to you about this in years past, man. I've always thought that Sabine Lisicki has underachieved. To me, she's been, like I said, when I looked at the German players back in the day, to me, it was Sabine Lisicki, it was Julia Gerges, and it was Pekovic. Those were my three. And I was like, yo, those are like my Charlie's Angels, man. Those are the three that are just going to pop off and things are going to be just crazy. Well, Angie Kerber came in was like, don't none of them y'all just have anything on me. And Angie Kerber was like, this is my game. So y'all need to move it to the side, which was surprising to me because I always thought Angie Kerber was the more, this less mentally stable of them all. But she has come through. But again, getting back to the Germans and Lisicki specifically, I just feel like she has a big game, big old forehand. And like I said, unfortunately, she hampered up on Venus today in World Team Tennis, backing up Kim Clijsters. She was just like, Venus, ain't nobody scared. I mean, now I tell you what, Bryce, this is what was crazy to me, but it touched my heart, bro. Sabine actually cried after she got that victory over Venus, bro.
Oh,
that tells you something. I mean, she like that means something. Like, and I thought that was pretty cool, to be very honest with you, that she would put her that much into it and try and win for her team. So again, folks, World Team Tennis, hey, it's popping off. It's doing good. But sorry, I'm going all over the place. But New York is popping, bro, and I agree with you 100%. To me, they are the dark horse because if you got a healthy Kim, I honestly, and Jack is doing his thing. If you got those two, I honestly feel like they could sneak up in there and pull an upset, and they might snatch this away from both Chicago and Philly.
I absolutely agree with you. And who I want to give like a special mention to, the fourth team I had in the top four right now was Orlando. And although if you look at their lineup, you may say, they kind of have a bit of a buster squad. They have really performed. I mean, I think all of our listeners know I'm not the biggest Tennis Sangren fan, but the dude has been going out there and getting the job done. And then and then Jessica Pegula. I mean, she's come through big for them in doubles and in singles. And we know why she had to come through for them, because Miss Danielle Collins, Miss I'm going to do what I want to do, you know, and we talked, right, and we talked about this at length last week when we were on our locker room show on Wednesday night. You know, we were very disappointed in Danielle Collins. And even more so now that she's come out and said, "Oh, I didn't know we could leave the facility." Are you serious?
Come on.
What was the whole premise of this event? Was to get everybody in the same location so that they can control the environment, keep everybody safe, everybody healthy, and she thinks that she can just jump in her car, cross state lines, go back to her alma mater 2 hours away, and do, because she's going back for some supplements and vitamins. You know, you couldn't get those delivered to you.
Exactly, right?
You know, I mean, I know what she went back for. She ain't gonna admit it, but you know, she went back for supplements and vitamins, and then you know, I think she took this whole approach of, well, it'll be easier for me to ask for forgiveness than for permission. But guess what? World Team Tennis said we ain't forgiving you. You know, and I love the word choice they have continued to use on Danielle Collins, which is she was dismissed from World Team Tennis for 2020. And I love the word dismissed because the connotation of it has got a little bit of stank on it. It's like she wasn't released, she wasn't benched, she was dismissed because she chose to do what she wanted to do. She put her own health at risk. She put the health of everybody else involved in team tennis at risk. It annoys me that she came out and said that she didn't know she couldn't leave the facility. You're in a resort that has everything you need. I'd have had more respect for Danielle if she came out and said, "My bad, y'all. I just was kind of feeling like I wanted to go do this." Right. But she didn't. She wanted to go this route. Oh, I didn't know. If you didn't know, then you and your team are some of the most clueless people on this planet because everybody knew you weren't supposed to leave the premises.
Exactly. I mean, you said it spot on, bro, and I agree with you 100%. Everybody knew. And you and I were talking about this a little bit, and it goes back to even her calling out Djokovic. It's like, that to me is very two-faced because you're going to call somebody else out and then you're going to do pretty much the same thing. Just disregard everyone else's, stake in this and go out of the bubble, if you will, and do what you want to do. That to me is unacceptable. And like you said, to come back and then just be like, "Oh, well, I didn't know," that's poor. That's a poor excuse. And it's just not taking ownership. Like you said, come on back and say, "Yo, y'all, my bad. I'm really, really sorry." I mean, just own it, apologize for it, and move forward. But don't play the dumb game like, "Oh, I just didn't know." It's too much going on for you not to know. Come on now.
Right. And so, just for the record, I applaud World Team Tennis for doing what they did. They made an example out of her. They're going to let her know. There's already a lot of concern about whether, we can successfully have these tournaments in the U.S., with Tiafoe, getting the virus down in Atlanta. We're coming up on a big decision on Cincinnati in New York in the U.S. Open. And we can't have people out here feeling like they can just do whatever they want to do and there are no consequences, there are no repercussions. And so, Danielle Collins, I gotta say, this was not a good look on you, and hopefully you'll walk away from this and with it being a learning lesson. But this was not a good move on your part in any way, shape, or form.
I agree, brother. I agree 100%. Crazy. Crazy.
So let's continue to talk about women's tennis. So, we are literally a week away from the official WTA Tour starting back again with its first tournament in Palermo, Italy. We're very excited. We've got some good names like Vajrasova and Martic and Kanta that's going to be playing. And I know they're trying to get Pliskova right now. I think she said she's going to let them know by Tuesday. But they really want Pliskova now because Miss Simona Halep, who was supposed to be their top seed, just withdrew. And the tournament is not very happy about it. I mean, Simona came out and said, they've had an uptick in COVID-19 cases in Romania. She's already kind of skittish about international air travel. And then they also heard that the health minister from Italy stated that anyone coming from like Bulgaria or Romania, they would have to go through the 14-day quarantine. But the tournament director came out and said there was already an exemption for that for the players that were going to be playing. So that should not have been a reason for her to pull out, especially at this late moment. And one of the things that we have to remember for all of these tournaments coming up, there are going to be a lot of individual decisions that are going to be made by camps of whether they play or not, and there's going to be a lot of factors, and health is obviously one of the big ones, and safety. But you have to imagine, Palermo, they've been advertising that Halep's going to be there for quite a while. They felt like they had everything lined up, and they're a little bit salty that this was a kind of a last-minute pullout for them.
Yeah, it's really tough, B, because I can understand their saltiness, but I can also understand where Simona's coming from. I mean, in these times, and you and I have talked about the Rona and everything, and it's just not something to play with. So if you are not comfortable, to me, you have to exercise your right of saying, you know what, I'm not going. And I can't be mad at her for that, because again, if you don't feel 100% comfortable, then you should not put yourself at risk. And I think that that's just where she came out to now. Like I said, unfortunate that it was late in the game, and now Palermo kind of has to do some reshuffling. But in truth, isn't that what we've been doing over the last 5-6 months here? I mean, it's so, I mean, to them, I can appreciate them being salty, and they have kind of a right to be, but at the same time, they need to understand that in these unprecedented times, things are going to be very volatile, and you have to be able to, flex and move. It's like, yo, because unfortunately, like I said, that's just where we're at. So I feel for both sides, put it that way.
Right. And we already kind of knew what Halep's position was, because, in general, because she was one, if not the very first person to say, I'm not coming to the U.S. Open, right? So we already knew there was kind of something there for her with that. But kind of on the flip side of things, a week after the Palermo Open, we had this top seed open in Lexington, Kentucky. And they have been racking up the names for this tournament. And I know we talked about this Wednesday night, but just as a reminder, here are the early commitments for that tournament. Serena Williams, Venus Williams, Sloane Stevens, Victoria Azarenka, Coco Gauff, Amanda Anisimova, Ariana Sablenka, Joanna Konta. This is as strong of a tournament as you would have anytime during a regular year.
Oh yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
That draw is going to be absolutely insane, and you better know that I am going to be on my couch with some popcorn watching every single drip drop of those matches, because they're gonna be good, bro. They're gonna be good. Right. So oh my goodness, with those types of names in the draw, the matchups are gonna be sick.
Very good.
They're gonna be so good, bro. Yeah. So I'm very much looking forward. Go ahead, bro.
Right. No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just going to say, and then it's also going to give us insight with Serena, because I think you and I were talking. If Serena, I think, even just makes the finals of this tournament, which, we think she should win it, we doubt that she's going to play Cincinnati and New York. But if she happens to take an early loss, then she might try to play Cincinnati in New York ahead of the U.S. Open.
Right. I have mixed feelings, bro, because you want her to gain some confidence. So I would like for her to win it, but at the same time, the reason that they moved that Cincinnati tournament to New York at the U.S. Open grounds is so that the players can get a feel for the for the courts and everything. And I kind of want her to play a little bit there as well, just to be able to get that feeling, so it doesn't come up as a new experience, if you will, getting there. So I don't know. I have mixed emotions about it. I don't know. I think it'd be better if she, like I said, she just wins the tournament in Lexington, because I think that'll go up very far for her confidence, to be able to win a tournament with all those names in the tournament. And then she can work through the other, the actual getting used to the U.S. Open courts, I feel. But at the same time, I don't know that it's a bad thing if she were to take an L before the U.S. Open and kind of just get that behind her. You know how it is, because you never really want a player coming in on the streak, because then they get shocked in a first round. So I'm all over the place, brother. How do you feel about Serena and her chances and what she should play?
Well, I'm not as concerned about her getting a field, because remember, we heard that she laid down the exact same surface as the U.S. Open in her backyard.
That's true.
So she's playing on that every single day right now. So I think, like you, I think the better scenario is her to win Lexington, because that gives her additional confidence of having a win. It gives her a nice couple of weeks off. She can continue to train, come in very rested. Because the Lexington tournament is, August the 10th through the 16th. The U.S. Open wouldn't start until August the 31st. So, I'm hoping for the win and then not play Cincinnati, because then again, I start to think, if she plays Cincinnati, is that too much consecutive tennis? That's almost like playing a 3-week Grand Slam tournament, And I don't need Serena to make it to the finals and have any excuses about being tired or whatever. We need to get rid of this finals little situation we've got going on. But as a reminder to folks, that tournament in Lexington was really kind of the Washington, D.C. women's tournament that they moved to Lexington for this year. And it looks like that may be a smart move, because we just heard that they've canceled the men's tournament in Washington, D.C. They felt like time was taken away and they hadn't addressed enough of the issues on how to put this tournament on safely, and they weren't going to half-ass it. So they decided to go ahead and to cancel it, unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way is we should be looking at it.
Right. I mean, it's you never want to hear that a tournament is deciding to cancel, because that to me then means that we're not going in the right direction as it relates to this COVID and being able to handle or being able to contain it, if you will. So from that standpoint, it's disappointing. But again, we have to adjust. We have to be flexible. So Palermo, again, I understand the shade, but we have to be very, very flexible and understand that as news comes in as it relates to our numbers and spikes, you have to be able to adjust, and I think that's what DC has done. So it's unfortunate, but hey, they'll be on the calendar for 2021, and they'll be back.
Right. Yeah. And this is once again a reminder that although we have these tournaments kind of tentatively on the schedule, there is still a final decision for every single one of them as to whether they will come off or not. And so although we've been talking about DC for the men for quite a while, we saw that it can get canceled. Although we've been talking about Simona Halep at Palermo for a while, we see that she can pull out. So one of the things that we have coming up on the calendar is July 31st is supposed to be the date that they're going to make the final decision on the U.S. Open, whether it's going to be a go or not. And I think the Cincinnati tournament is kind of coupled with that. I think if the U.S. Open happens, Cincinnati and New York will happen. If it doesn't, Cincinnati and New York will not happen. So wait a minute, that's just in a couple of days. I was just thinking about the date. Today is the 26th. So in 5 days.
It's Thursday, right?
We'll be getting that word, so we'll know whether or not to get hyped for that, or not.
Absolutely, man. Keeping my fingers crossed, man, because like I said, God, we want some live tennis. We really,
Right.
really do. But again, gotta be safe. Gotta be safe as well.
Right.
So
Absolutely. And speaking of the U.S. Open, one of the things that you and I have talked about in our last episodes has been there's this potential on the men's side, right, for the big three not to be there. I mean, we know Roger is not going to be there. And let's talk about Roger for a minute, right? So I think we've recently heard from a couple of people that Roger is doing well after the second knee surgery, and he's doing. I heard that his coach said that he's doing some physical things. He's going to be getting back on the courts to hit shortly, and even that he's looking at Roger playing potentially some sort of warm up prior to the Australian Open.
yeah, it's so interesting, bro, because it's like, you got Severin out there talking about he'll play a warm up before the Australian. I am pretty sure that during World Team Tennis, I heard Nick Pereira say something around Federer actually might try to hit the courts in 2021, which I was like, that seems interesting. I mean, of course.
I mean, 2020? You mean 2020?
Yeah, in 2020, which is like... Yeah, it's exactly. So it's just very strange. So I don't know that I'm gonna go off of what Nick Pereira said because again, Severin is Roger's coach. So if Severin is saying a warm-up tournament, it's likely 2021 that he's talking about playing right before the Australian, which would make a lot more sense than him trying to play anything in 2020. But I tell you what though, bro, if I could see Roger Federer in 2020, you better know I'll take it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I always the Australian Open is a realistic additional title opportunity for Roger. So I just want to make sure that everything that he's doing is best positioning him for his best chance, at that tournament. Rafa, on the other hand, has been very clear about his actions. He's been practicing on clay. He hasn't mentioned anything about the U.S. He hasn't mentioned anything about hard courts. I think it's pretty clear that he's not coming to the U.S. Open. He's looking to play at least one of those clay court warm-ups. Knowing Rafa, he's probably going to play both of them. And the Rafael Nadal Open. He's going to play that. So we know we're feeling pretty confident that Nadal and Federer will not be at the U.S. Open. The wild card is Djokovic, just because he always throws a wrench in the thing.
Always.
We're so excited about this concept, this idea that there might not be any of the big three at the U.S. Open, and what a battle it's going to be for the rest of the field to, kind of come in there and see who can take a Grand Slam title. But I just have this feeling, in the back of my head that Djokovic is going to be like, y'all thought I wasn't coming? No Nadal, no Federer. Yeah.
I'll be there. After number 18. Exactly. I will be there. I just have that same feeling, bruh, that he is going to jack up that storyline big time. And he's going to be like, yo, this is a great opportunity for me to slide another one in my pocket.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I really think.
Yeah, and I've already had Corona anyway.
Exactly. So yeah, been there, done that.
Yeah, ain't nobody afraid of no 19. So I mean, Djokovic is gonna be there. I know he is.
He is. Yeah, he is. And another person actually who is talking about being there, not part of the big three, but part of the big four, is Andy Murray. So Andy Murray has got, plans as of now to make the U.S. Open and to come and play. Which, like I said, I definitely want to see him in the draw. I just really didn't want to see Novak in the draw. But kudos to Andy for feeling like he is in good enough shape now with all of the issues that he's had to be able to come to the States and actually play this Grand Slam. So that like I said, if it's held, it will be awesome. It's gonna be so good, bro.
It is. I'm telling you, it's just things are getting better and better, and as we continue to talk about these decisions, yes. Oh, see you, Katrina Adams. But, as we continue to talk about, players having to make these very important decisions about their health and where they're playing, there was a very interesting interview that Patrick Moratoglu had recently, and he was saying that a lot of the players, especially the top players, will need to make a decision between whether they play the U.S. Open or the French Open, because just with all the travel stuff going on, all the protocols, just coming back into playing, he thinks it'll be a little bit too much for a lot of the players to try to do both. Now, you and I both know there are going to be a bunch of players that will do both, and we'll start off with Dominic Thiem.
Yes.
If there's a tournament to be played, Dominic Thiem is going to be there. But I think he has a very valid point.
I 100% agree. I do think that trying to jam, so much into that window. Again, it wouldn't be bad if it were normal times. But you've got, a lot of people who simply have not been playing competitive tennis over the last, 4, 5, 6 months. So to then ask them to go and just immediately immerse themselves into all of this aggressive tennis and competition, it's a lot. And I fear a lot of people are going to end up pulling up. They're going to end up getting injured, and that we don't want. So I just really hope that folks are being mindful of that, and they're really building their schedule around more of a logical, process, if you will, versus just, hey, everything's open, I'm just gonna go play everything. And I tell you what, this is the one thing, at least what I will say about Dominic Thiem. He is playing everything, but he's gotten himself back into that physical mode of being able to play everything and still be healthy. So with him, if he plays both, I'm not worried about him because he's got the reps in. He's good. He's a young kid. He's still like 25, 26, 27, something like that. But, I feel like he's really in his prime, so he won't be at risk of being injured. It's sort of the really older players, or again, the folks who just haven't gotten out there and gotten their reps in. That's when you run the risk of getting yourself hurt. And that's really where I fear for a lot of people trying to play both the U.S. Open and the French Open, i.e. the Nadal Open, because again, it's like you don't want to do that much in that short of a span. So hopefully the folks are thinking about that.
Right. And the thing that has me a little curious is by Patrick Moratoglu saying this. We know the inside information he has on Tsitsipas, on Coco Gauff, and on Serena Williams. So it makes you think, what are those players thinking? And I throw out to you, Isaac, if Serena wins the U.S. Open and gets number 24, what is she doing with the French? Is she not playing the French now because she's at least got 24 in the bag, or is she going to try to build on that immediately?
She plays the French in my eyes. I mean, you have to build on momentum. If you finally get over the hump, and to me, her winning number 24 is going to be so freeing. It's going to literally allow her to let her game loose again and just let the tiger out. And to me, why wouldn't you go play the French? Because at this point, you have nothing to lose. Go on out there and go and swing out. I mean, swing and swing hard. You know what I'm saying? I would go, I'd be like, y'all just better watch out because I am about to what? Remember how I used to beat down Sharapova? I'm about to do that to all of y'all. Because I ain't got no more pressure. At that point, she's got the record. I mean, granted, she's tied, but we already know if she hits 24, she vaults over Margaret Court simply because Margaret Court's numbers are already stacked based on the, all the Australians that she won, blah, blah, blah. We all know that story. So to me, when Serena hits 24, she gets the title. And to me, that just takes all of that weight off of her shoulders and allows her to truly play Serena Williams tennis. And that tennis, that's scary tennis right there, bro.
It is.
That's scary tennis.
And we've seen, every time that Serena kind of gets to these certain landmarks and it takes her a minute to get past it, then she goes on a run, right? And, I'm still hoping that Serena ends up with, 26, 27. So that there's not even, there really won't be a question at 24. But, and I'll tell you, there's another reason why I want her to win the French. Isn't the French the one that she's only won 3 times?
Correct.
So if she gets a 4th French Open, then she can at least tie Steffi Graf on having won each major 4 times. So just another.
Correct.
Correct. I think the one last thing she needs to go for, or can go for, or makes sense to go for, is that Golden Slam. I mean, whether she has a strong chance for it or not, but in 2021, because that's kind of the one thing that Steffi still has and may continue to have over everybody else. It was that 1988 year when she won all 4 majors and won the gold medal and at the Olympics. So I would like to think, and and then if Serena, I know we're saying a whole lot, right? But if Serena was able to pull that off, right? I mean, in every single category you can think of, she is the greatest woman player of all time.
Absolutely. I mean, at that point, it's just absolutely no question, because to be at that age and to be able to go into a year, take all 4 Grand Slams, and to take you Olympic gold, I mean, honestly, like you said, it wouldn't be any question once she hits 24. But if she were to do something like that, she would go down as the greatest athlete probably of all time, just period.
Right.
I mean, because no one does that. I mean, because mind you, Serena is 39 and she will be, or is she 38? She'll be 40 next year, right?
Because she's turning 39 this year.
Right. So she would be 40 doing this.
Right.
Right
now. Right.
But honestly, she can.
Right. I mean, we give Martina Navratilova props for winning a Grand Slam mixed doubles title at 49, but to win a singles title at 40, and especially this day and time when the game is so physical.
Yep.
That would be insane. So I don't know. That's that.
I just want her to get this U.S. Open. Just get this U.S. Open. Get 24. And then to me, the sky is the limit at that point. Because to me, at that point, everything is just icing on the cake. So she should play with absolutely zero pressure and just go out there and let her game shine through. And I really think that there's definitely a few more Grand Slams that she will pick up if that's the case.
Right. So
yeah, man.
Hey, I want to take a moment to just kind of remind our listeners kind of what we're doing here. And so we are recording this episode on Instagram Live because we have received feedback that some of our listeners like to see us. So it is for that purpose. We apologize if we're not engaging as much with the comments. We see the comments coming through and people asking questions. We're not quite paying as much attention to that because we just want to kind of make sure we get through our talking points for today. But we do want to remind people that we have an after show, if you will, on Wednesdays, 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific Time, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is on a new app that's not out to the public yet. It's called Locker Room. Right now it's in beta. I think there are plans for it to launch live in about 2 months. But as a listener of ours, if you are interested in listening to us on Wednesdays, send us a message through our website, Instagram, Facebook, however you want to directly contact with us. We will send you instructions for special access to be able to come in and to participate in that show. Why do you want to participate in that show? Because that's the one where we are directly engaging with you. We're answering your questions. We're talking about what you want to talk about. And I'm just trying to tell you, the last 2 weeks we've done this, the conversation has been off the hook on Wednesday nights. We're not as structured. We're a little more free with what we're saying. So we want to encourage you to come out and join us on Wednesdays in Locker Room because it's a whole different party.
That it is. It really is. It's the after party, y'all. It's definitely the after show. We get a little loose. I mean, you already know we loose on our general podcast, but
Right.
it gets a lot. We have a lot of fun in locker rooms. So come and join us. Yeah, yeah. DM us and we'll get you that information and just come hang out with us. It's a really good fun time.
Right, right. So, you know, Isaac, I think you were going to talk a little bit more about the UTS, the Ultimate Tennis Showdown.
Yeah, they got the right, right. I mean, they started that back up, I believe, yesterday, and I think they had Popperin and Feli Lopez play, and that was a good match. In fact, I think it ended up. I think Popperin hit a second serve out wide, and the technology didn't call it, but the umpire called it out because it looked pretty blatantly out.
Uh-huh.
And so that was a little bit of controversy ending the match, but I believe Philly got through that. But the one that was just hilarious, in my opinion, was Gasquet versus Grigor Dimitrov. So Grigor is now in UTS, and for those of you who don't know, he ended up getting COVID, and is probably the face of COVID for the ATP Tour. And so he's back and he's well, but Gasquet was like, you know what? Ain't nobody scared of you and your little COVID. And he smacked him up, dude. He was just like, yeah, I think you still struggling. You need to go and hit that treadmill and get yourself a little bit more fitness because you're not ready for this. No. Right. So yeah, Gasquet put them things on him. I mean, he took like literally the first 3 quarters straight up. So Grigor just had no chance. It was a pretty strong smack up. So Grigor, we support you here and we hope that you are better. We're glad to see you back out there. But yeah, you still got some tightening up to do, bro.
Yeah, I mean, what's going on with these kind of players that I think I thought that they are kind of gone and past their prime with these results? I mean, Kim Clijster's coming back for a second time. We know that's the obvious one. Right. Gasquet, I don't really think of Gasquet as a key contender anymore, but in UTS, he has really played well. And then Tommy Haas, I mean, what's going on with him? I mean, did he take that shot that Captain America took and just kind of preserved his body from at a certain point?
Man, he did something. I tell you that, bro. He definitely has turned back the clock. Because to be 42, that dude looks good. I mean, he's
really good.
Just looks good. He's hitting the ball just extremely well, and yeah, I can't be mad at Tommy. Tommy needs to consider coming back and playing a couple tournaments, to be honest with you.
Right.
I mean, he looks that good that he actually could. He could do, and we always, he's always been very good on grass too. So you never know. Maybe next year in the summertime, he might slide into a tournament or two and just kind of see how he does. Because to me, he was playing top level tennis when he was playing against Gasquet and Struff. I mean, just really, really good stuff, man.
Right. If he plays grass, I just want him to stay away from Roger Federer because
exactly right. Because he got that W over Roger on grass, so I ain't scared of him.
Right.
Right.
That's hilarious. Well, I think that's about all of the points that we have for this week. We wanted to just kind of encourage everybody to watch. There's a lot of tennis on TV to watch now. And like we said earlier, we are a week away from real, true blue tour tennis starting back again, at least on the women's side of things. But we do have some exciting news to share with you. Next month, the month of August, is going to be a very important month for us. We will be celebrating our 1-year anniversary of Brothers on Tennis. And, we're so proud of how the first year has gone. Actually, August the 26th is the actual anniversary date. We debuted at the U.S. Open last year, and we're going to be having special shows and special events all throughout the month of August. And Isaac, you want to talk about some of the things we're going to be doing in August?
Yeah, we've got a few interviews set up, which we're very, very excited about. So some good content coming at you from fan appreciation from a legendary. We'll keep that and keep you in suspense on that one. But we've got some a legendary interview that will be coming up, and just doing some things that are fun, that allow us to just celebrate this year of really incredible results that we've gotten throughout this journey of this podcast growth, and man, just excited, Bryce, just extremely excited, man. How are you feeling about the month of August?
Well, I'm waiting for you to talk about the big thing for next month.
Oh, well, okay. I didn't know if you wanted to integrate that in right now. But of course, folks, if you don't know, it's all about the merch. Got this, Brothers on Tennis. Like I said, our shop will be opening up. We're trying to get things going as of August the 1st. So 1 week, folks. You got 1 week. And then we're going to open up our shop. It's right off of our website, www.brothersonttennis.com. And that's BRUTHAS on tennis.com. There you go. And we got hats out there. We're going to have dry fit shirts. Go and point at it, Bryce. That's right. We got your dry fit. We got hoodies. We got sweatshirts. I mean, we've got our base, merch. And we just want everybody to get in there, man. You want to be outfitted in the Brothers on Tennis gear. Because we feel really good about this. It's a very, very, very powerful and strong statement when you're wearing Brothers on Tennis. It means a lot, especially these days. And everybody can wear it, and we want you to wear it because we want you to represent. So yeah, 1 more week, y'all, and we rolling. So we want you to roll with us. So be ready and let's go.
Yeah,
let's go.
Right. So I'm very excited. I had mentioned to Isaac yesterday that Coach Brian, I got a message from him yesterday, and he ran into someone who had been a follower of us from day one. They were actually a part of our pilot group before we launched last year. And he said, yeah, I ran into Raheem, and Raheem had his Brothers on Tennis hat on. How can I get me one? So we are definitely trying to get those available. I just need for everybody to pray and put their hands on their PayPal account for me, so we can go ahead and work out this last issue we got with PayPal. But
yeah, exactly. Right.
But as long as we can get that resolved in this next week, we will be ready to go for next weekend.
That's right. Very, very excited about that, brother. It's good, man.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'd like to once again thank our listeners who will be listening to this in podcast form. And for those of you that are watching this on Instagram, you can go back, and we have 59 other episodes from this previous year that you can go back. And if you're kind of reminiscing about tennis and missing some tennis, we have some entertaining episodes out there that you can find on our website, and we're on almost every podcast platform you can think of: Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Pandora, you know the list. So being able to say you can't find us will not be an excuse, because we're out there, we're everywhere. If you can't find us, you probably spelled our name wrong. So once again, that is BRUTHAS on tennis. That's our handle on all of our platforms. So
that's right.
Isaac, unless you have anything else you'd like to share, we're going to go ahead and we're going to sign off for this week. From Brothers on Tennis, this is your boy Bryce.
And this is your boy Isaac.
And we're looking to have that merch for you next week. So look out for it, everyone. Have a great and a safe week.